In the realm of lenses, true speed avatars are hard to find. But that was before they came. The Nightwalkers. Honestly, I haven't been a fan of SIRUI optics for the longest time, and being someone who shoots professional video on industry cinema cameras, there are a lot of questions that need answers, especially because of the price. Who's this lens for? How durable is it? How's sharpness across the frame? Basically, is it worth it? This and many more are the things I need to know. The Nightwalker set is a series of Super 35 T1.2 cinema lenses. This is Super 35 lenses, meaning they do not cover full frame sensors. All lenses, with the exception of micro four thirds, have focal length measured against full frame coverage. But I know that even when this type of explanation is done to simplify things, it confuses a lot of people. Don't make the mistake of thinking that these lenses are different. They look exactly like whatever they should look on each sensor you put them on. In this case, these look like what each of the three focal lengths would look like and have always looked like in cinema, meaning this 24mm gives you the same field of view as what a 24mm did in classic films shot on Super 35 like Titanic and Gladiator. So this review covers a lot of points about how you would practically use these lenses in real life connected to performance. Number one is build quality. As I opened the case and grabbed them, the first thing I noticed was just how small, compact, and lightweight they were. The aluminum build was good, very similar to that of the DZO Vespids. The focus ring is pretty nice to use, and overall the lenses just feel very sturdy and very well built. They're not weather sealed, so they're not designed for use in certain conditions like rain or dust. Even if they feel like that, they feel like you can use them outside. All three lenses are identical in their builds, the same length, the same width. They have the same 67mm thread size on the front, which might be useful for when you're rigging your camera, attaching the follow focus or matte box to the end of the lens. Now, I personally don't like the fact that they're 67 because it's not a pretty common size for filters. The benchmark is 82mm. Another thing is that because they're so small and lightweight, I can actually fit all three lenses in my daily carry backpack and carry it around with me every day, wherever I go. Next is optical performance. Lenses, though, are artistically measured on a scale of clinical to character. Most high-end expensive cinema lenses are sold due to their unique and specific characteristics, even if they aren't clinically perfect. Cook is a great example of that kind of brand. A lot of times, I want as much character as possible that a lens gives me, as long as it helps the story. These lenses feature a tiny amount of character. It's soapy. The bokeh doesn't have those hard edges that some photo lenses can give you, which makes them a very interesting option if you're shooting video and looking for a good cine lens. These lenses are nicely sharp, not too sharp. Even shooting at T1.2, they maintain their sharpness. I wouldn't say they're as sharp as the Sigma 24-70 f2.8 lens. However, I think that's actually kind of a good thing. When I'm shooting with a cine lens over a photo lens, I expect it to be a little less clinical, just to remove that digital edge in the overall image. If you are shooting in broad daylight, you're definitely going to need some NDs with you to be able to shoot that wide open and maintain shutter speed and ISO for a good exposure. I tested the lens flares on these lenses and I noticed that they're not super prominent like on other lenses, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but if you're looking for lenses with a lot of flare character. The flares are pretty subdued on all of these lenses. Next is versatility. Also, being able to shoot at T1.2, I find it really fun to use, and it really separates the subject from the background. And also in low light, it gives you a huge advantage not having to worry about having to bring extra lights. You can just shoot with the available light, which I think is really important for documentary or wedding filmmakers. I think they've done well with the focal length range on these lenses for the 16, 24, 35, 55, and the 75, I believe. It gives you a really nice range from wide to not super wide, medium close-up, and extreme close-up. However, you have the 35, which I think is a little bit awkward in between, but can give you some more flexibility to punch in if you need to. With the 55, I find that it's a pretty good option for a B cam, for an interview, for example, where you have it off to the side and you're just kind of getting a bit closer in on your subject. If I had to choose only one of these lenses, I would probably go for the 24mm 1.2 or the 35. And that's just because I feel like in my testing phases, these are probably the two that I've reached out to the most, especially when filming handheld. They're not too tight, and so it's not too shaky when you're using them. And I just find that it's a pretty nice focal length for just all-round use. Next is the ease of use. When you're shooting video with photo lenses, you always run into some small issues that Cine lenses actually solve. So first of all, with photo lenses, they don't have gears on the outside. And if you want to rig up a follow focus or a wireless for a first AC, you need to add gears to the lenses. Now, this presents another issue if you ever want to change lenses. You have to add multiple gears, and oftentimes the gears are in different positions on each lens. This is a big issue when you're on set and you're trying to move as fast as possible. The fact that this just offers that is one of the beauty of the Cine lenses, and especially the Nightwalkers. The focus gear and the aperture gear, they're all in the same position on all the lenses, which is just well done. And speaking of aperture on the Nightwalkers, it's a variable aperture ring, so it is very smooth and you can actually adjust the aperture on the fly even without noticing, which can be a problem. Lastly, the value for money. My background with lenses is that I started with the clean, sharp, very clinical look of photo lenses, the Sigma 16 f1.4. But as I've evolved over the past decade, I've come to love shooting with lenses with more character and find the rather digital look boring. And this had led me into the vintage lenses. But the Nightwalker series is what I'd call a newbie lens. At $349 per lens, it really makes this worth the conversation for some people, in my opinion. Now, none of the Cine lenses, and especially at this price point, offer a T1.2. So yeah, I would recommend these lenses if you're looking for a budget Cine lens. If you have any other questions, definitely leave a comment below. I will try to answer as many possible as I can. Good night, and God bless you.